Okay, so welcome to the Posters Guide to Front-End Development. So this series I made this series to educate my team members on the basics of front-end development so that they can help contribute in my front-end projects. So just a disclaimer, I'm not a front-end developer and I'm not formally trained, I've not read any books, but I have worked fairly extensively in certain front-end projects. So this series serves as a guide to to talk about caveats, history, motivations of why certain things are done in front end. Okay, so I am a back-end engineer and infrastructure engineer by trade. So uh, this does not lie in my areas of expertise, but this is just introductory and basics series. So I do expect that you understand you know you can write some basic HTML, CSS, and some JavaScript. Know some basic data structures in algorithm. Understand certain basic network concepts such as packets and bandwidth, etc. You don't have to know them in low level, but just need a high level concept. Okay, so the motivation for creating this workshop, then to ask them to read and go through tutorial or read documentation is because front end is a very peculiar landscape where you need to understand a motivation more than information. In other words, a lot of things have very weird reasons, and that's what I'm trying to express here. There's also a lot of caveats in front end, so I aim to close the experience gap between people new to front end and more experienced people. Uh, though personally I'm not a front end expert, so this just serves as a introductory series to front end development. Okay, so in this course we will go through firstly caching. So why caching? Because well, I'm not a front end developer, so I'm kind of afraid of front end. So instead of something less front endish, but caching is widely used in front end. It's probably the most important technique you need to learn to make your page look fast. So you have to understand what kind of caching strategy, how can you use caching to optimize your page. And then the next we will talk about HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, also known as the Trinity of front end. So this is the fundamental building blocks of all front end web applications. So by front end I mean browsers, web applications. Okay, so I'll talk about the uh, most commonly used fields and techniques and all the caveats that come with them. So uh, yeah, after that we'll talk about JavaScript. JavaScript is a huge topic because much of front end depends on how well you understand the language itself. So there's JavaScript comes with a huge history and it's a complicated language because it, it is very robust, but also very, how do I say it? It has a lot of implicit magic that you need to understand and how you can abuse them or why certain things are done this way. So in the JavaScript section, we'll talk a lot about how JavaScript evolved and why certain things are done this way and why is there a need to do such. How does the JavaScript interpreter actually run the code itself? After that, we will talk about the the two chains of front end development. So this is critical because it talks about how you deploy your code. So this is a pipeline and operations section of front end. That means how do you package your code and deploy it? How does this bundler how can this bundler optimize and how do you make it backward compatible with all the tools possible, and you can just talk about how you set up projects and stuff like that. We also talk about higher level languages such as SAS and TypeScript, which compounds down so that you have an easier time developing than using just CSS and JavaScript. After that, we will talk about browsers. So browsers is more of server browser interaction and how browser does the rendering, how you can debug with the browser, how does how does browser differ from each other, and how does the browser differ in terms of like CSS rendering, JavaScript interpretation, and stuff like that. After that, we will dive into the higher level architecture type of modern front end. So this is generally talking about client side rendering, server side rendering, single page application, progressive web app. This is basically it's kind of like a history of how front end evolved to be, well, I suppose better. It's quite a controversial topic, so but it's necessary to know all this stuff. After that, we will talk about rendering optimization techniques. So when you have a page and you have a lot of animation, a lot of elements in your page, you want to know how these elements are rendered and how you can optimize, how can you speed up your page, because front-end development, a huge part about the front-end development is how can you make your page look responsive, smooth, and load fast. And a lot of this is you have to understand how things are implemented in the background. Okay, next we'll talk about testing. So testing has always been a huge problem in front-end because it's hard to test UI, especially when every browser renders it differently. So I'll talk about the most common testing frameworks, how you can use them, how you should test your code. Alright, then lastly, we'll finally talk about uh, mm, the front end framework, which is Vue.js. So I've used React for a long time, but ever since I swapped to Vue, I feel that Vue is a lot simpler, cleaner, and the separation of concern is done a lot better. So in this series, I will focus on Vue.js instead of React, and that's basically what I plan to talk about in this course. So I hope it's not too boring for you guys. If not, that's it. I'll see you guys in the next video.